Hello, everyone. Welcome back. In this episode of Bitcoin Trade, I'm going to talk about the new license that some people or company are going to be required to file for. But let's just go to the article real quick. And this is the article. This is came out on CoinDesk. And usually they're pretty good about this stuff. So that's how I heard about it. And there you go, read the article. Let me see here. There's the author and the date, and well, there you go. There's the title. So I guess it's still a work in progress, but pretty much they got the bulk of it down. You can kind of go through it right here. I'll just go in a PDF file so you all can see it. Now, from what I've read, it seems like if you're like if you're like Coinbase or anything like that, you're probably going to be getting a license. If you do anything like a Coinbase or want to be a Coinbase or want to be an exchange, let me see, how can I put it? If you're going to be holding other people's money or other people's Bitcoin, you're probably going to be getting a license. If you're transmitting Bitcoin for money, money for Bitcoin, and that's all you're doing, you're probably going to get a license, or you probably need a license or apply for one. But if you're like me and you're just an investor or user or a merchant or something like that, you don't need a license at all. Okay. This is for the Bitcoin wannabes of what I would say what they know of. So, going back to virtual reality, if you are creating virtual reality and you have no creative ideas or if you're just not very creative, what you're going to do is you're going to mimic everything in your virtual reality just like in your real world. So these are for the wannabe Bitcoin banks, the wannabe Bitcoin investment banking institutions, the wannabe Bitcoin Charles Schwab, or the wannabe Bitcoin Scottrade, kind of like that kind of scenario. This is probably for them. For everyone else, as an investor or user, merchant, let me see another. If you're like BitPay, there you go. If you're like BitPay, you probably want to get a license, right? So, anyways, I'm going to show you real quick some of the stuff here, and I'll show you the part where I think where I don't need a license. I can just go right in that state and basically start trading. Literally, I don't need a license. But the people who want my Bitcoins or my money, they probably need a license. If I would do any, if I become like a customer of theirs, I should say. But if not, I mean, I just do this for myself, so the cows come home, pretty much. So let's just get into it real quick. So it's about 40 pages, and it gets very confusing, very confusing. If I had just walked in and started reading this without knowing anything about anything, right? I just want to start trading Bitcoins, and I saw this, I'd be wondering, do I need to get a license? And hopefully if they ever go up to the counter, someone would explain to that person, they probably don't need a license. But anyways, there you go. Let me see here. So I'm gonna go right here into the definitions part of this section here, and then to the license part of it, and that's where the two part I'm gonna really look at. And all this other stuff doesn't even apply to me, but it's nice to know what they need to do. And I can tell this is all written because I guess they're afraid of another like Mt. Gox kind of thing happening where um, nobody knows where the Bitcoin is. You know, and you got all this, computer dollars, computer US dollars that don't mean much, you know, because it can never be converted back into reality. So, anyways, the other part I'm going to mention is, let me see. Well, it looks like it's kind of nice. They do require some kind of cybersecurity program. They do a lot of quote-unquote evaluations. Um, I'm going to look at this part here in particular, and then the customer protection next. Everything else is, well, irrelevant to me because I'm not going to get a license. But I want to know about these things because it's going to be relevant to me if I ever work with any of these licensees on what my protection is and how they're going to market to me, right? Because they got to be truth in advertising, right? Truth in advertising. So let's get down to it. So let me see. I think it's on. I'm just kind of scroll down to page 6. Thank goodness you don't have to go too far. There's 5. So mainly you're in the definitions area. And so let me see. The part that I'm going to be, the definition that I'm going to look at here real quick is this one. Is this what their definition of a virtual currency business activity means that the conduct of any one of the following types of activities involving New York as a New York state or a New York resident. So I'm not sure if someone from New York goes down to Florida and they trade. There's a company that trades, you know, like a Coinbase. They're like kind of like small, just a local Coinbase ish kind of or a local Bitcoins kind of thing, maybe even. Someone from New York goes down and starts trading with them. Do they have to get licensed now? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that holds any water, since this is just a state thing. But anyways, I'm sure it's just pertaining to people in New York. And the other question is, I guess if you are in New York, I guess you may fall into this. Maybe not. Anyway, so here it is, and it says receiving virtual currency for transmission or transmitting the same, basically for just the purpose of transmitting, okay? Securing, storing, holding, maintaining custody or control of virtual currency on behalf of others, kind of like what Coinbase does or Exchange does. They have hot wallets. You can get your own wallet or a blockchain wallet that's considered yours. But if you hold it for someone, then I guess you have to get a license. Buying and selling virtual currency as a customer business. Now this, you may think like, well, you may think that's what you do as an investor, but you don't. Okay, so don't let this fool you, or even as a user. It's not. These people are not your customers. Okay, they didn't sign up with you. They're just trading with you. So, and they choose to trade with you because, they just feel comfortable trading with you. That's it. Whether they come back once or twice, how many times in a day, 1,000,000 times in a year, once a year, it doesn't matter. They're not your customers. They're just people you trade with, willing participants. So, don't let this fool you. This line right here, if you're an investor, if you're and you do a lot of trading. And so, and the second thing is, or the fourth, performing retail conversion services, including the conversion or exchange of fiat currency or other value into virtual currency, the conversion or exchange of virtual currency into fiat or other value, or the conversion or exchange of one form of virtual into another form of virtual currency, controlling, administering, or issuing a virtual currency. Okay, so, gosh, well, this whole sentence was quite a bit. Now, this whole thing made it sound like, wow, that's what everybody does. Everybody does this. You know, you have to buy, virtual currencies with money, and then you have to, if you just need to cash out, you have to sell your virtual currency for money. That would be, everybody needs a license. Well, it makes it sound that way, doesn't it? But you got to read on. Oh yeah, in this part, controlling, administering, issuing virtual currency, and then you read this and you're like, wow, that's what I do. I trade for myself. I do all these because I do it on my own account. Well, and then you guys scroll down here, and it makes sound. This whole thing makes it sound like everyone has to be licensed, but really you don't. So here you go. This is the license section. Here's my cursor. I'll highlight that. So here's the license section here. Alright, and then I'm going to scroll down to, let me see, it's on specifically on page 6. There it is. Okay, so page 6. Oh yeah, here it is. Nope. There we go. Okay. So I highlighted. So we'll look here. So license required. No person shall, without a license obtained from the superintendent as provided in this part, engage in any virtual currency business activity. After they just described it right above, which they make it sound like it's everyone. So you scroll down and just read this, blah 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 blah, and then you get to this part right here, section C. Section C says exemption from licensing requirements. I like how they put these in first, and then they say you need to be licensed, damn it. And anybody who's unlicensed, man, we're gonna get you. And then here they go, oh yeah, by the way, these people are, in a real soft voice. Oh yeah, by the way, these people are exempt from the requirements. So, exempt from licensing requirements. The following persons are exempt from the licensing requirements otherwise applicable under this part. So, and then they bury it with some other, seems like misguided attempts to mislead you one more time, just in case you're reading all this, just in case anybody decides to read all this. Persons that are chartered under the New York banking law to conduct exchange services and are approved by the superintendent to engage in virtual currency business activity, and merchants and consumers that utilize virtual currency solely for the purchase or sale of goods or services. So I know it doesn't sound like much. It's a one-liner. It's not much. But if you've seen my previous episodes, you would know what this means in particular, and how that this particular, I don't know, number 2 of section C of exemption outlines how I don't need to be licensed. I can trade freely of my own account, of my own free will. So there you go, there it is. Alright, I hope this helps you. I hope it helps people of New York. I hope it helps everyone who is engaged in any trading outside of New York, but are trading with New York residents. Um, so, anyways, there you go. And if you know why, then you know why. If you don't, then try to find that episode where I first talk about this and how this line right here in particular is protecting you. So this particular item right here is protecting you from being persecuted and prosecuted, and you shouldn't fear in the use of your virtual currency, right? You should have absolute free will to do with what you will with your virtual currency. So there you go. And also, on a personal level, I mean, virtual currency. You got to remember, for me, it means more than just money, right? It means I am literally able to enter into virtual reality, and with other entities, I can co-create that reality, and I can make anything I want in there, and test it out, try it, create new things, create new life, whatever. Do all sorts of things. New world. As far as your imagination can go, if you have any imagination, or any creativity whatsoever. So that's great. That's fun. It's mostly been a video game, kind of like the stock market and the forex market and all that. But now, what's interesting about virtual currencies, in particular with my experience with Bitcoin, is that you can go in there, create this world, and bring it out. You can make it real. You can co-create with others, and you can change by changing your virtual reality the way you want it to be. You can make reality. You can bring that out into reality and make that real. So this is a big step. I have to thank the people of New York for doing this. It basically gives anybody, at least any U.S. citizen, the right to trade in New York and with a New York resident. So let me see. Let me go back to the article real quick. Okay, is this the article? Okay. And apparently, let me see here. I should thank someone. Let me see. Oh, okay, there you go. So I have a personal thank you for Benjamin M. Lawsky, or Lawsky. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name in any way, but maybe one day I'll hear your name pronounced. But I'd like to thank this particular gentleman because, I guess in some ways, I guess the invisible hand would like to thank you as well. You just paved the way for me to go into Canada, and so this is wonderful. This is great. So, anyways, there you go. There's that section, and I'm sure that's all. The people in New York, you can relax, you can calm down, you're protected. It feels good to be protected, right? Yes, it does. And then the other part, I'm going to scroll down, it's way at the end, way at the end, and that part is about the advertising and consumer protection. So now that we got some rules in for the users. So here's the advertising part. And from what I read, I mean, it seems like they learned a lot from Mt. Gox. So if you advertise you got a secure wallet or you got a secure platform, um, well, you better have a secure platform and a secure wallet. We don't want any thefts, so you're going to be liable for that. Um, how you advertise yourself and the promises that you make, like for example, I mean this is pretty common stuff, but, but at least now we got something to stand on, and there you go. Shall not directly or implicitly make any false, misleading, or deceptive representations or omissions. There you go. So there you go. It's just typical stuff. And then now we got into some consumer protection, and they're not really consumer protection. They're just disclosures. So it just goes on and on about, by the way, virtual currency is not legal tender, okay? It's not backed by the government or any insurance or any other insurance, okay? So that's, you know, you want to make sure you know that. What else is in here? Irreversible transactions in virtual currency are generally irreversible. Alright, so there you go. You cannot be recoverable. Alright, just a lot of disclosures. So, which is good. I don't see any consumer quote-unquote protection per se. You know, but at least you know what you're up against. And this is almost the same as any other. Let me see, like a forex account or a securities account. There's no protection really, but there is some insurance on that kind of stuff. There is nothing on here, so there could be whatever licensee, either a person or a company, may guarantee their own. So that might be a good thing. But that's about it. Everything else is just really boring. I'm never gonna be into this licensing thing. I'll never license. You know, I'm always gonna trade for myself. So, anyways, there you go. That concludes this episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. I would say this would be a legal Bitcoin legal episode. I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I can read, and from what I read, it looks like just everyday users of Bitcoin, even like myself, I'm, I guess, protected under the law to trade, freely trade. So thank you, New York. Anyways, this concludes my episode here. I hope everyone got some really good information on this. Feel free to like, dislike, leave a comment, or even do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye.